everybody, welcome back to Cotto Verde. My name's Annette, and today I thought I'd take you through the process of how I take the seeds out of the seed heads and seed pods that I've collected from my garden. So in a previous video I went around my garden and collected some seed heads from seeds that I really wanted to gather so that I could sow them again next year. So it's vital when gathering seeds to make sure before you store them that they are super dry. If they're at all damp, they're just going to go mouldy or just rot in storage. So it's really important to make sure that you dry them out first. So my seeds have been lying out just in a warm environment in my kitchen for a little while now, and I'm certain that they're all dry. The dahlia seed heads, because I gathered them when they were still slightly green, I've had to let those mature for a few weeks. And now they are brown and crispy, so it's the perfect time to gather them up and put them into little packets. When I'm gathering seed from my own garden, I store them in little brown envelopes, and they're just sort of seed packet size envelopes like this. Da-da. And I just write the name of the plant that I gathered the seed from, and I write the year that I gathered it so I know how old my seed is. If you're interested in where I got these envelopes, I'll put a link in the description right below this video and you can go and check it out. But I think they're readily available. So I've splashed out on new envelopes so that I can store them in the same place as all my other seeds and they'll look pretty. But if you don't want to splash out, you could use a paper bag or in fact just reuse an envelope that's been sent to you. But I think paper is probably the best way to store your seeds, something that's breathable. I think little plastic bags probably aren't ideal, but if your seeds are dry enough then it should be okay. But I definitely have a preference for paper to store my seeds. I don't know what it sounds like on this video, but there is a storm raging outside and I've got roof lights in my kitchen. I can just hear the rain thundering down on it. So I really hope that that's not coming across too loudly in the video, and I apologise if it is. Hopefully it will let up in a bit, but it's really raining today. So these are the seeds that I gathered before. Here we've got the bells of Ireland, and here we have various different dahlia seed heads, and I like to keep it separate because I think it's fun to figure out which dahlias grew from which. And this is the lunaria, or honesty. So what I'm going to do is start with, I think I'll start with the bells of Ireland. So there's a couple of things I'll say about bells of Ireland. You probably know, if you've grown your own bells of Ireland, that it can be quite prickly. There are some little thorns here, but you're only interested in these bits. So it's just easier, in fact, to just pull these bits off, and then you don't have to deal with the thorns at all. So I just go along and pull these bits off. If your bells of Ireland have dried whilst they're still on the plant, then you may find that some of the seeds have already fallen out and self-seeded in your bed. Ow, I've got a prickle in there. So some of them may be empty and you'll be thinking, oh, that's a bit weird, but most of them should have seeds in, and I'll show you how to identify the seeds. I'm so sorry if you can hear banging. I've got some builders in at the moment and they're doing a bit of work. Hopefully it's not going to be too distracting. So the most fun thing about bells of Ireland is that when you're collecting the seed, you can just sort of squeeze the head of it and your seed will pop out like that. So this is the seed here, and in fact that's not just one seed, that'll be like 2 or 3 seeds. So I just sort of give it a little squeeze like that, and there I've got probably 2 seeds. That could be a seed as well. There we are, 3 seeds. So I just sort of give them a little twist and a squeeze at the top, and then your seeds will pop out like that. And those are the seeds. So this is chaff, and obviously this is just your seed head, but these are the seeds that you're interested in. And so it's just a bit of fun actually, just to go around squeezing. And they just pop out really easily. So because bells of Ireland are tricky to germinate, can be tricky to germinate, I think just having fresh seed, your own fresh seed, is just a super way to just make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance possible. And you can see that from, each seed head I'm getting maybe 4 seeds. So actually you can get quite a lot of seeds just from one stem of saved seed heads. So I just want to clarify that you do need to sort of gently break apart your little seeds, because there will be 3 or 4 inside each one. So if you've got like a cluster, you need to break it apart. You don't want to sew them all together. So that's like come out of one, and then if you just squeeze it gently, it'll break into 4. So sometimes the pale ones, if you squeeze them, they turn to like powder or dust, so that's no good at all. You want it to be rock hard so that when you squeeze it, it pokes you, and that's a good seed. So once you've gathered your seed, you can just tip that into your envelope like that if you like, but I like to sort of make sure I don't have too much chaff, and you can see that on my envelope I've written the name of the plant. That's the Latin name, and then Bells of Ireland, and this is the year that I've collected the seed. And sometimes if your seed's really small and fiddly, it's good to have like a piece of paper that's folded in half, and then you can tip it into your envelope more easily. So I tend to just sort of, I give everything a really good squeeze. Can you see that it's crumbling in my fingers? So you don't want to gather the seed that's crumbling, you want the really hard ones. So if it crumbles, I'm not going to put it in the envelope, because that's probably not going to germinate. Either it got too dry, or I don't know what would have happened to it. But I like to make sure that I've got the really hard seed in my envelope. So I do go through each one and just make sure that it's hard. And then when I've gathered my seed, and because I've got a folded piece of paper, it's really easy to then just tip it into my envelope. And now I'm going to move on to the dahlia seed. There's a lot more chaff when you're collecting dahlia seeds, and I think it's also quite easy to get confused about what is a seed and what isn't. So these are the dahlia seed heads that are completely dry, and they're crispy. And all you do is just kind of squeeze them like this, so you're breaking the petals apart just by sort of rubbing them between your fingers. So these papery bits, this is chaff, this is rubbish, but what you're looking for are the hard seeds. So if you have a bit like this isn't a seed, this isn't a viable seed, but this is, and it's sort of this shape. So this isn't a seed, but this is a seed, and it's got a bit of rubbish on it. So this is what you're looking for. They're sort of this shape. I think if they're really super flat, like this one is super flat, that's not going to be a viable seed. There's probably actually no seed in there at all. So you're looking for like the chubbier ones. And without breaking them open, it's really hard to tell whether you're going to get any viable seeds or not. So when you're sowing your own dahlia seeds, you just want to kind of go for it and sow as many as you can. So I'm actually getting quite a few seeds from this particular seed head. And then I'll just put those in an envelope, and then I'll just gather those up and put them in there. So I'm just going to show you another dahlia, because I find that when you're collecting seeds from ball dahlias, they just don't make that many seeds, or that's been my experience. And I'll show you that I'm going to crumble these ones up, and I probably won't find any seeds inside at all. This is from Alaska, one of my favourites. And I don't know whether that's because it's harder for them to be pollinated, because, you know, the insects just can't get inside. Yeah, there's no seeds in here at all. Actually, no seeds. Is that a seed? That may well be my only seed, and it's very flat, so I'm not even sure that that's a seed. But yeah, so I think with the ball dahlias, I don't know like how to propagate them, like how to gather those seeds, because I just don't seem to find any in the ball dahlias. So that's why I tend to gather my seed from the open dahlias, like the collarette dahlias and the singles, because it's easier then to find seed inside your seed heads, because I haven't had any luck with the ball dahlias and gathering my own seed. So now we're on to the last one for today, which is lunaria, or honesty. and I absolutely love honesty. First of all, it's a wonderful flower in the garden and it looks great in a vase, but it has the added benefit that the seed heads, rather than being chaff, are actually really decorative. So when you gather your seed, you're also creating something that will look really pretty in a display indoors. Let me show you. So this is lunaria that I saved from last year. So these are just a few stems that I tied together and I've had in a vase all year and they're still super pretty and I absolutely love them. So I think that it's just such a wonderful plant because you get so much out of it. You get flowers in your garden or in a vase, and then you can gather your own seeds, so it's free next time you want to sow it. It also self-seeds, but slugs and snails are a real problem for this plant. Caterpillars just munch away at it, so you have to be careful. But if you save your seed heads, and I would pick these from the plant, you know, when they're green and then hang them upside down to dry. So I hang them upside down to dry and then I take the seeds coverings and the seeds off once it's dry. Yeah, I find that if you leave these out in the landscape to dry on the plant, that they get really wind battered and then, you know, you end up with like half leaves. But if you want them to be all whole and pretty like this, it's best to gather the seed pods, you know, the branches or stems, when they're still in good condition, when they're green, and then dry them yourself. I just hang mine upside down in the shed. What you have to do to find the seeds is if you hold the seed pod at this pokey end here and then just bend it slightly, it lifts off this papery layer on the top. And that's rubbish, but in here are the seeds. So you gather the seed, but then if you lift off the other side, in the same way, just by bending that pointy bit, it takes off the other papery side, which is rubbish. And then you're left with this sort of kind of mother of pearl, see-through, beautiful seed head. It's like the inside of the seed head. Take the little seeds off, they're rubbish. So don't gather the little ones, these are the ones you want, the big ones. And then if you do that to all of these, you end up with loads of seeds. And you do have to sort of do it slowly with a cup of coffee because it's time consuming if you want to save these bits. Obviously, if you don't want to keep these things here, then you can just gather your seed just by scrunching it up. And you don't have to be careful at all. But I hope you can see that these are really beautiful. So these are the seeds here. I wouldn't keep anything that's small like that. Those aren't going to be viable. And then I just put those into my little seed packet. Again, I've written that it was the purple honesty. So that's it for today. I've stored all my seeds. I hope that you found this fun and it's shown you how to identify what is seed and what is chaff, and maybe you could give it a go yourself. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all next time. Collected up some seed heads and then what you have to do is you have to leave, that's really annoying, is you have to make sure that they are completely dry before you store them because otherwise, so I store the seeds that I gather from my, oh, the sun's really bright. The sun's come out and I'm blinded by the light.